Your hungry bloodline tells them exactly who you are, and the moment you enter any space, they recognize it. Private predator energy, turned into prey before it could ever hunt, and that alone should tell you how serious this is. Your bloodline carries power you haven't even fully realized yet, and shocking people is part of your nature because you hold something they don't have and never will, so you don't need to chase, explain, or prove anything. Because the ones who moved against you already received their answer. The people who sent someone to test you watched that plan collapse before it even started. Setbacks, sudden failures, and fear replaced confidence. And now they are shaken because every move made against you backfired, leaving them stunned by how protected, untouchable, and dominant your presence really is. So, before we go deeper into this message, take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers, and comment Mr. Ledger to show you're locked in. And if this message is hitting, stay with it until the end, because this is about realizing who you are when pressure reveals truth. You never had to speak loudly to be noticed. The strength you carry shows up in the way you move, the way you stay composed, and the way you don't beg for validation. While others announce their presence with noise and exaggeration, you walk in silently. And that silence carries more weight than words ever could. People don't always understand it at first, but they feel it, and that feeling unsettles them. True power doesn't demand attention. It commands respect without asking. You didn't have to prove yourself because your presence already answered questions no one dared to ask out loud. Even when you stood still, even when you said nothing, the atmosphere shifted. That's not something learned overnight. That's something built through pressure, discipline, and self-awareness. The most dangerous thing about you isn't aggression. It's restraint. You don't react impulsively. You don't explain yourself unnecessarily. And that's why people noticed you before they ever understood you. Your strength didn't need an introduction. It introduced itself. Some people sense threat before they can logically explain it. They don't know why, but something about you disrupts their comfort. It's not arrogance, it's not ego. It's the quiet certainty in your actions. You move like someone who knows exactly where they're going, even if the path isn't visible yet. They watched you closely, trying to figure you out. They searched for weaknesses, looking for hesitation, hoping to find fear. But what confused them most was your consistency. You didn't perform. You didn't pretend. You stayed steady, regardless of circumstances. That steadiness made them uneasy. Recognition doesn't always come with understanding. Sometimes people see the future impact of someone before they understand the journey behind it, and that's why they reacted early, not because you attacked, but because your existence alone challenged their sense of control. Some strength isn't taught, it's inherited through experience, hardship, and survival. You come from a line of people who didn't quit when things got hard. That resilience shows in the way you endure pressure without breaking. You don't panic under stress. You adapt. This isn't about pride in a name or history. It's about patterns. You solve problems instead of avoiding them. You stay standing when others collapse emotionally. That's not coincidence. That's conditioning through life's toughest lessons. You don't need to remind people where you come from. Your decisions reflect it. Your endurance reveals it. And when challenges arise, you don't fold. You rise with calm focus. That's the kind of strength that can't be faked. While others talk to feel important, you stay quiet to stay powerful. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's control. You listen more than you speak. You observe patterns. You let people reveal themselves without interruption. That silence unsettles insecure minds. They expect reactions. They expect emotion. Instead, they get composure. And composure makes people question themselves. When you don't react, they don't know where they stand. Silence is not weakness. It's a strategic advantage. You don't waste energy explaining yourself to people who already decided how they feel. You conserve strength. And that's why your presence feels heavy, even when you say nothing at all. Confidence is loud until it's tested. Some people walk with false certainty until real pressure arrives. That's when reality exposes the difference between image and substance. You didn't crumble under pressure. You adjusted. When challenges appeared, you didn't panic. You analyzed. You didn't rush. You refined your approach. While others lost control, you gained clarity. That's where real confidence shows itself. Not in words, but in responses. Limits exist to reveal character. And when confidence reached its breaking point, yours didn't shatter, it matured. You became sharper, more grounded, and more focused than ever before. What frustrated people most was that you never played their game. You didn't engage in unnecessary battles. You didn't argue. You didn't react emotionally. Yet somehow, outcomes still favored you. Plans were made without your involvement and still collapsed. Expectations were built around your failure, and still you stood. That's when people realized something important. You didn't need to participate for results to unfold. Your discipline protected you. Your patience outlasted them. You weren't lucky. You were aligned with your purpose, and purpose doesn't require permission. Some strategies fail not because of interference, but because they were flawed from the beginning. When people act from fear or envy, their plans lack stability. They crumble under their own weight. You didn't sabotage anything. You didn't interfere. You stayed focused on your growth. And while you were building, distractions destroyed themselves. That's the power of forward motion. When you're committed to progress, chaos fades into irrelevance. You don't need revenge. Time and consistency do the work for you. Your greatest weapon is emotional discipline. You don't allow external noise to control your internal state. That alone separates leaders from followers. When provoked, you pause. When tested, you stay centered. You respond with intention, not impulse. That level of control isn't common. It's earned through experience. People underestimate how powerful restraint can be, but you understand it fully. And that's why your reactions always land with impact. You never chased validation. You never chased approval. You focused on becoming undeniable. And that changed everything. When you stop chasing, you attract. When you stop proving, you start leading. People notice consistency more than desperation. You understood that growth is magnetic, and while others ran after attention, you built substance. That's why recognition came naturally. Arrogance fades quickly when reality intervenes. Confidence, without preparation, collapses under pressure. You watched this happen without celebrating it. Fear replaced noise. Doubt replaced certainty. And suddenly, people became cautious around you, not because you threatened them, but because you represented something they couldn't control. Your calm became intimidating. Your focus became unsettling. And that shift wasn't loud, but it was permanent. Momentum doesn't ask permission. Once it starts, resistance becomes pointless. You reached a point where progress became inevitable. People tried to slow it down. They questioned it. They doubted it. But the shift had already happened internally, and that's the only place it matters. Once you align discipline with vision, nothing external can stop forward motion. That's the phase you entered. You spent time watching, learning, and understanding. You didn't rush leadership. You earned it. When the moment came, you stepped forward with clarity, not force, not ego, just competence. Authority isn't claimed. It's recognized, and people followed because you led by example. Pressure doesn't create character. It exposes it. When things got intense, your discipline showed. You stayed steady while others scattered. You stayed focused while others complained. That's how strength reveals itself. You didn't become strong under pressure. You proved you already were. You don't hurry success. You don't force outcomes. You move at your pace with precision. That patience gives you an advantage others don't understand. You see long-term while they chase shortcuts. And that's why your progress feels unstoppable, because it's built, not borrowed. At the end of everything, movement speaks louder than explanation. You kept going when others stopped. You evolved while others repeated mistakes. You refined while others reacted emotionally. Your progress is the final statement. No words needed, no validation required. You didn't need to announce who you were. Your journey already did. True influence isn't demanded, it's inherited through the way you exist. People notice the ones who don't need to prove themselves. When you enter a room, conversations pause and attention follows. Not because of loud declarations, but because of the quiet magnetism of consistency and competence. Your presence alone reshapes dynamics without a single word. Influence grows when people see that you are unshakable. They test boundaries, but you remain composed, unreactive, and steady. That calmness forces others to adapt. They follow patterns you don't even try to enforce. It's subtle, but it's undeniable. Real influence doesn't scream. It whispers, but it changes everything. Every action you take becomes a lesson in strategy. People begin to mirror your behavior without realizing it. They recognize your ability to remain centered and start valuing your approach. And this is the power that never needs explanation. It is recognized, accepted, and respected. Respect isn't given. It's earned the moment people realize that your standards are unshakable. You don't ask for it, and you don't react when it's denied. But the moment someone tries to challenge you, the weight of your presence alone discourages attempts. This is not intimidation. It is sheer awareness of your own value. Your confidence radiates in subtle ways. The way you walk, how you speak, how your mind moves faster than the chaos around you. Even silence in your company communicates authority. People feel it even before they understand it. And that is where power begins, not with action, but with recognition. Those who underestimate you learn their lesson quickly. They realize that force cannot replicate what comes naturally through consistency, composure, and self-discipline. Respect, once felt, remains. It lingers long after encounters have passed. You've learned that real strength doesn't always appear on the surface. Every choice you make carries weight, not because it's loud, but because it's calculated, precise, and impactful. Decisions are the building blocks of your authority, even when no one notices them. People often measure strength by aggression or visibility, but you've discovered the silent truth. Foresight is the ultimate weapon. By anticipating outcomes, predicting consequences, and staying 2 steps ahead, you demonstrate power far beyond what is visible. They notice only the results, never the preparation that made it possible. Every seemingly small choice compounds into massive influence. Every decision you make without hesitation proves your mental fortitude. And while others rely on force, your unseen strength continues to shape the environment, unchallenged and unstoppable. Pressure is not the enemy. It's the testing ground for true champions. When everything around you collapses, your discipline doesn't waver. The world measures ordinary people by how they handle comfort. It measures extraordinary people by how they thrive under strain. Under pressure, reactions matter more than intentions. Your calm and clarity separate you from the rest. While others panic, you analyze. While others complain, you strategize. Strength shows itself not in avoiding challenges, but in using them to reinforce character. Pressure is temporary. Resilience is permanent. Every situation that forces your endurance, creates proof of your capability. And when the dust settles, it is not the chaos that remains, it is your legacy. Fear exists to test limits, but not yours. You've learned to convert it into perspective, not paralysis. Where others freeze, you move. Where others hesitate, you strike mentally with clarity and decisiveness. Your reaction doesn't erase fear, it neutralizes its power entirely. Those who operate out of fear become predictable, vulnerable, and weak. But you operate out of principle, discipline, and foresight. Fear cannot manipulate someone who has learned to anticipate its influence, and that creates a natural advantage over anyone trying to control outcomes through intimidation. The beauty of irrelevance of fear is that it liberates. Decisions become sharper, moves become confident, presence becomes unshakable. When fear cannot dictate action, power manifests effortlessly. You've witnessed how resistance slows the weak and motivates the strong. Momentum is your ally, and once it's built, it becomes unstoppable. Every step you take compounds previous efforts, and obstacles crumble under consistency, not confrontation. People will attempt to disrupt your flow. They will try to distract, provoke, or mislead you. But momentum doesn't rely on immediate approval or validation. It moves silently, steadily, and powerfully. And by the time they realize what has happened, you're already far ahead. Momentum is proof of endurance, intelligence, and focus. It is the silent testimony of your preparation and vision. And this is why no amount of opposition can reverse what you've built. Power isn't always a personal attribute. It can shape entire environments. Your focus and discipline radiate outward, influencing decisions, attitudes, and actions of those around you. You don't impose, but your presence forces adaptation. People mimic behaviors that work. They follow patterns that succeed. By maintaining consistent excellence, you teach without preaching, lead without coercion, and inspire without effort. Influence grows because it's authentic and effective. This ability to reshape environments is a rare skill. It is proof that leadership is not about control. It is about presence, impact, and unwavering integrity in an action. Doubt is a constant companion for the insecure, but it cannot touch someone who trusts their preparation. Your confidence is not boastful. It is rational, grounded, and unshakable. You see obstacles as tests, not threats. When people project doubt onto you, it fails to penetrate your resolve. That calm certainty is more contagious than speech. Others begin to question their own limits, while you quietly move forward, untouched and unfaltering. Unshakable confidence does not require constant reassurance. It manifests through action, consistency, and the refusal to entertain unnecessary anxiety. That is why people cannot shake you. They recognize strength, not arrogance. In chaos, you are calm. In uncertainty, you are decisive. Composure is often underestimated, but it is one of the most powerful forms of influence. While others react emotionally, you act rationally, with foresight and clarity. Your steady demeanor communicates authority silently. Decisions made calmly are respected. Strategies implemented without panic are followed, and when chaos surrounds others, your composure becomes a lighthouse for influence and results. Those who mistake calmness for weakness quickly learn otherwise. Real composure is an indicator of experience, mastery, and unbreakable discipline, a form of silent dominance that no one can mimic. Talk is cheap. Results are tangible. You've learned that success isn't measured by promises or loud claims. It's measured by measurable outcomes, progress, and impact. Your actions speak louder than any argument ever could. People may doubt, challenge, or criticize, but nothing undermines results. They exist objectively and persist long after opinions fade. This is the ultimate form of credibility, unquestionable and permanent. By focusing on results instead of validation, you create a legacy that is undeniable. Every project completed, every problem solved, every obstacle overcome becomes proof that words alone are insufficient without action. Observation is often overlooked in a world obsessed with action, but you've mastered the art of watching before acting, understanding before speaking, and analyzing before deciding. That patience amplifies your effectiveness. By studying behavior, patterns, and tendencies, you predict outcomes and shape responses. Others react impulsively. You respond strategically. Observation is not passive. It is the silent preparation that makes visible success inevitable. Mastery through observation turns ordinary decisions into extraordinary results. The more you watch and understand, the less you are surprised by challenges, and the more unstoppable you become. Power often arrives before movement. People sense it even when nothing is done yet. Your reputation, your focus, your methodical preparation communicate capability and command without effort. This type of influence is invisible, but undeniable. People act differently around someone who has already proven reliability, competence, and foresight. Decisions that once took struggle now bend naturally towards your direction. When influence precedes action, you conserve energy, avoid unnecessary conflict, and achieve outcomes effortlessly. The world bends subtly toward those who understand this principle, and you are living proof. Physical strength is visible. Mental strength is silent, but immeasurably more impactful. Challenges will always test you, but your mind does not bend. You think through adversity, anticipate obstacles, and solve problems with precision. Mental fortitude allows you to endure when others quit, adapt when others panic, and rise when others stumble. It is the backbone of consistent achievement, and it defines those who lead versus those who follow. Every difficulty faced without complaint is a building block for further success. The stronger your mind, the larger your influence, and the more unstoppable your presence becomes. Distraction is the tool of the unprepared. You've learned to block out the unnecessary chatter, the drama, and the trivial challenges. Focus is your shield, your compass, and your weapon. Where others scatter their energy on unimportant issues, you concentrate on objectives that matter. Every step forward is deliberate, purposeful, and effective. This relentless focus guarantees progress that others cannot replicate. Focus isn't just about attention. It is about prioritization, discipline, and